Hi, my name is Dr. Janelle Ott. I teach bassoon at Angelo State University, Abilene Christian University, and McMurray University. I also have several years of experience teaching bassoon lessons in Texas, throughout Texas, including in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I am here today to talk to you about preparing your 2023 to 2024 All-Region Etude selection number 3, which is Etude number 41 out of the Weissenborn. So, I actually like this one quite a bit. I think it's a nice little piece, but there are some intricacies for us to discuss. The first thing that I want to bring up is I've been hearing a lot of students playing the dotted rhythm as kind of a triplety thing. And I can tell you, as a former band kid myself, band directors are always listening for that. Make sure that your 16th notes are true 16th notes and not triplets. So a triplet rhythm would be the way it's written should actually go. Make them nice and snappy. Okay, next. High notes. High notes come out because you are not using too much embouchure. If your embouchure is too tight, you will close down the reed and nothing will come out at all, which means that when you're playing the high notes, use lots of air. Don't suddenly use way more air on your high notes than you used on the notes before, but plenty of air, enough air to get a good sound. The accent that we have in measure 3 is done entirely with our air. You're also helped because the G flat is naturally a louder note than the F is. So I think it will kind of happen on its own as long as you play the right notes. Keep an eye on your high A flats because we need to use a very specific amount of half hole on them or they will crack. When you're playing most notes that need to be half holed, if the note cracks, it's because you're covering too much of the hole. On A flat, you need to use almost no half hole. If there's too much of the hole uncovered, the note will crack. It's not going to happen right now, I'm sorry, but I promise that is the problem. Make sure there's almost no half hole. I actually don't think about half holing high A flats at all. Your first note in measure 5 is a double dotted quarter note. So in music, the dot does not add a specific amount of time, it adds a fraction. The first dot that we add to a note adds half of the note value, and the second dot adds half of the note value. So in the case of a double dotted quarter note is 1 beat. The first dot will add half of 1 beat. So we now have 1.5 beats. The second dot will add half of the first dot. So 1 note plus half a note plus a quarter of a note. That is a note that is 1 3/4 beats long. Moving on, the tranquillo section, starting in measure 17. The main thing that I hear is that when we go from triplets to dotted rhythms, like in measure 24 going into 25, the dotted rhythms go to triplet land very quickly. So, when it should be, keep them snappy. Snappy, snappy, snappy. The only way to really good at this tranquillo section is to practice it with the metronome. That's the only way to get your 8th notes to triplets back to 8th notes correct. What I recommend you do is practice this at several similar but not the same tempi. So if you're doing it at 144, also practice it at 140 and also practice it at 148. And once you do that a couple of times, you should get a fairly decent relationship between 8th notes and triplets. Measure 39, which is the 7th line down, has a really awkward descending slur accent figure. My advice to you is as follows. Don't worry about playing the unaccented F notes. They will come out, I promise. It's like you don't even need to think about them. Just give them a little bit of air and they'll pop right out. It also helps to have a good read to get descending slurs to speak well. Last thing for me to talk about before I play it through. I'm noticing that a lot of my students are playing the last two lines a lot faster than the first two lines. Make sure that they stay the same. This is like your little reward for making it through the whole rest of the piece. Don't speed it up. The slurs that go up to high B flats, the same advice I had about getting your high notes to speak. Don't try to suddenly use way more air. Use the air that you need for the high B flat on the note before, and then just relax into the note. It will come out. And if you try to make the high B flat much, much louder than what came before, what you will actually do is close down the reed, and then nothing will happen. So just give it enough air. Make sure that the note before the high B flat has enough air and enough volume to carry you through to the high B flat. Do not try to suddenly do something differently with your mouth. That will also shut the reed down. So enough air, not too much mouth, should be exactly what you need. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but honestly, I can't think of what that might be. So I'm going to try to play it through for you. I'm going to try it at around 150. So hopefully it's perfect. Wish me luck. I have not been practicing these for the past 6 months, but I hope you have. Here we go. Etude number 3, 150. You may have noticed that I helped myself play that very last high B flat. I've done a lot of playing today. You can also lightly articulate some of these notes that are slurred, especially when you're practicing. Just get used to getting them to come out. Ideally, you slur everything exactly as written, but if it's between lightly tonguing a last note and having it not speak at all, I'm gonna go for lightly tonguing. Anyway, good luck to you. I hope you are able to have some fun as you prepare these etudes. I think this one is a really interesting one and it's fun to play. It doesn't really get old to me. So, thank you. Good luck. Have a nice day.